And what happened in the last, if you've been listening to the show, is we spent an entire programme talking about Suicide Squad because there is literally so much to discuss and some points unexplored, but we'll keep it going for a little while longer.
It's been one of the more controversial films.
It really has.
This year.
It definitely has.
But
we've got some more things to get through reading wise. Ryan's got something he wants to say, but I want to say first because we're gonna talk more about Jared Leto, I suppose, is what you're wanted to talk about. Interview with Edith Bowman on Friday on sitting in for Kermode, and he said the old fashioned thing of if a star of a film doesn't like the film, you'll see he hasn't seen it. Jared Leto hasn't seen Suicide Squad. And he said that apparently they shot enough footage for an entire Joker movie, and he doesn't know exactly what his involvement in the film will be. Of course he does. He's just lying because he's doing promotional stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that he says in that interview is absolute waffle and guff. It is plucked straight out of the arsehole, the dirtiest, crustiest arsehole of DC.
Do you think you've got a vendetta against this film?
No. This is the thing, and this is
a lot of it.
This is the thing that's happened for the last few weeks. Is that Ryan's liked the film, I've disliked the film. It's happened a few times this month, and I quite enjoy it because it means it's interesting to listen to. I think it's more interesting than us sitting there going, "Yeah, it's good, isn't it?" Which happens quite a lot because we're quite similar taste, haven't we? In some essence, but.
Just to clarify, G, and say whatever the fuck you want the podcast.
Hey,
within reason.
Within reason, yeah.
Yes, you can't say
Don't say it.
I don't like too much.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. Okay.
Every now and then.
Yeah. If it's benefited. I haven't got a vendetta against the film. I've seen the film. I didn't like it. That's kind of what it is. I'm not a person who holds grudges against films. I say what I see. I've got integrity. I know,
but you can't exactly call out Jared Leto on these interviews because every promotional interview is guff.
Yeah,
but his
in particular just stinks. It just stinks. The stuff he says about creating the Joker is just absolute bull.
He did go into quite a lot of effort for that.
It's bullshit. He goes into effort, but he's effort for
Imagine
what?
leaving dead rats and used condoms in their actors' carriages for that.
The way he supposedly treated his fellow castmates on set because he's method. Oh God, I'm so method. I'm gonna make my life live in hell for everyone involved in the film because I'm so method and edgy and cool. No, and that's the word I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for. Edgy. That's what it tries to be. Really edgy, and it's not.
I heard Will Smith has come out of the woodwork and said that he's had bother with him. Apparently, I don't know the full context, but I remember being told once there's an interview where someone was, and what did you think of working with Jared Leto? And he just straight up turned around and was like, he's an arsehole.
Yeah.
And his publishers, what Will Smith means to say is that the two didn't see eye to eye, and Will Smith's interrupting again. He's like, no, he's a dick.
I get the impression that he's a dick, but that's from listening to him talk for about 15-20 minutes about this film, and not seeming very enthusiastic, seeming very committed to the part. One of the questions was, which other villain would you like to see him? Would you like to see the Joker team up with if it's another film? And he could have said any number of any number of not Marvel DC villains. Who did he choose? Batman. Clearly, because it took him a few minutes to sort of think about the not minutes, but it took him a good bit of time to think about his answer. He's like, I guess Batman. It's like, yeah, you've done so much research, you can't name any other DC villains.
Well, I mean, I don't know. He's got that kind of frontman syndrome for me.
Oh yeah,
he's very.
That probably comes from being the frontman of a band, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean, he's one of those people, isn't he? Where he's just like, I'm the front man of a band, and I'm an actor, and I'm just like, he just seems quite self-absorbed.
Oh yeah,
at times.
I get that impression from listening to him speak, and the performance he gives very self-absorbed.
It does seem that way. It does seem as like, I'm going to do this, and you're going to love it, and I think honestly that sort of. As
if he's like presenting us this glorious thing that he's made, like sort of like a child come from school. Like, look at the drawing I did, isn't it brilliant? Like, you think it's actually good? We'll put it on the fridge, Jared. Yeah, right on the fridge.
We can see it every day.
So what's happened, Ryan, with regards toward Jared?
Jared Leto said to Heroic Hollywood that there are a lot of deleted scenes, a lot of scenes that didn't make it to the final film. Hopefully they'll see the light of day, but who knows? And David Ayer also said that we have a chunk of deleted scenes. There's definitely over 10 minutes. My cut of the movie is my cut. There's no sort of parallel universe of the cut. This release edition is my cut. However, there is a lot of deleted footage.
Well, if
I'm glad it's stayed that way.
if that is,
If that was what they decided,
So
was
he hasn't
good,
had the movie taken out of his hands, but there is a lot of deleted scenes.
yeah, but they're still in promotional season. There's still a lot of marketing to do. That quote will be, if it's not true, it'll definitely be doctored by Warner. If this is his cut of the film, fair enough. It's just not good. That's my take on it. If that is his cut of the film, then he's definitely been ambitious, but it's not worked. It just hasn't worked.
I do feel like I want to take a step back here just for a second, and I want to say that like as much as I can sit here and I can shit on the Joker, literally all day,
And
we really could,
definitely could.
and I mean something tells me we might, but if this is anything to go off, but no, I can sit and shit under the Joker all day because I honestly think that with such great source material, he could have pulled something out of the bag really, really well. And obviously, after Dallas Buyers Club, I had really, really high hopes. Him being a singer, I always kind of thought that he would have that vocal range to really pull off the laugh as well, like the way Mark Hamill does.
He does that same laugh a few times, doesn't he? The exact same way that like sort of Jimmy Carr.
Yeah, it feels off, but like as much I feel like Joker was the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
And I feel we might be focusing too much on that because let's face it, he's not in the film that much.
No.
And like I said, if you took him out, I probably would have enjoyed the film a lot better. But at the end of the day, I went along. First film I've ever seen by myself.
Really?
Actually, like the first time I've ever been to the cinema and it just been me, which was an unusual experience. Turns out I hate people.
Yeah, people are the worst.
Yeah, but
especially cinemas, especially in cinemas.
It's because it's that kind of environment where you can just sort of be cheesed off by everyone.
Jake,
like
me and Liam saw Finding Dory separately. He went with his mum, I went by myself, and both screenings had a kid with light up shoes.
In the same row.
Yeah. Light up shoes.
But
the kid, to be fair, the kid didn't like stomp around in mine. It just happened at the end, and I was like, oh, that's just so funny that he had light up shoes.
I don't think anybody will ever beat Selfie Girl though.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to murder somebody more in my life.
Like the flash, like it had. Yeah.
Like a self with a flash on in a few films that we've seen.
Oh no. But yeah, overall though, I did actually really enjoy the film. I think. Well, no, I enjoyed it. It was quite fun.
Yeah.
I walked away from it saying, as much as it probably doesn't deserve the flack that the critics have given it, it was a bit of a mess. It came out mediocre, and in the eyes of a critic, a film being that messy and mediocre, often mediocrity can be so much worse than something actually being terrible. Because let's face it, who doesn't love The Room?
Exactly.
Anyone
this has a lower Rotten Tomatoes score than The Room, if we're going by Rotten Tomatoes. Not that you should, but you know.
The Room has somehow entered this zone where it's like it's gone into the negatives so high that it's a high number again. And it's enjoyable. It's so much fun to just sit and watch this train wreck of a film. Where this was an awkward train wreck at places.
It's about funnily enough, I think it's about a year to the week that Fantastic Four came out last year.
Sorry, what?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Do you think that film could be held in a regard of just like it's so bad, but you can't help but watch it?
No,
absolutely not.
No.
Fantastic is.
If you put a gun to my head, right, and said, "Joe, you got to watch the finale again," I'd just say, "Fucking shoot me."
No, I'm telling you, no.
Pull a bullet in my brain.
There's a choice between watching 30 seconds of that film or getting pushed in the tyne with a safe attached to my leg. I'd say get the chains.
Like, you obviously can't see what I'm doing, but there was moments when I was honestly going just like
face palming.
I think honestly, it's another one of those things where it was a lack of knowledge of the source material. It was you can kind of see with Fantastic that it was the guy didn't quite understand the source material. I mean, one of the things is it seems like such a minor thing because basically. Changing the race of one of the characters.
Right.
That is not a bad thing. That has worked. I mean, for all Daredevil's faults, like the original film, for all its faults, all of its fall downs, one thing that they did do very well is I think Michael Clarke Duncan does his part very well. He does because he's such an imposing presence. That's fine. The issue with Fantastic but
it's still funny. It's still a funny title.
I know. By changing the race of one of the characters, originally Sue Storm and Johnny Storm are brother and sister.
Yeah.
That doesn't work if one of them is a different race, and therefore they had to turn around and was like, oh well, they're not brother and sister anymore. They're cousins, and it's like, oh great, so you basically just eliminated one of the most fundamental sort of character relationships. Because there's always that thing, isn't there?
I suppose
between...
it breaks the link of the connection between them. I still kind of think Michael B. Jordan was fine. Like
I know it's just...
the whole thing is very.
All of them were trash. This film was a dumpster fire.
Miles tells the worst part about it for me.
No, it's easily got to be.
My point about Fantastic
Four.
For me. I guess you don't think it would be, but the possibility of it being some kind of cult nasty in the future. No. And maybe I think too many people like Suicide Squad for it to be in that category as well. I think there's a lot of people like Ryan and Jake yourself who do like it. There's a lot of people who don't like it. Maybe that's the critics.
It's not a film I would watch again.
The big thing that I've noticed about this is the way it's turned regular people against film critics, as if there's some kind of higher power that doesn't understand superhero films. Their job is to see films, and they see a lot of films. They've seen every single Marvel film, they've seen every single DC film, and they know the crack. They haven't just turned up and watched this for this isn't their first DC film. They know what's going on.
It's not the first rodeo.
No.
The argument that gets to me is the fact that some people, it's the argument between, do you go with the source material or do you go with what makes a good film? Because I've seen a lot of people defending this purely on the fact that it respects the source material.
Yeah, but
if it's not interesting, for me, who's someone who doesn't know the source material, if it's not an entertaining film,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
exactly.
It's the argument,
it wasn't an entertaining film. It definitely wasn't, and for that reason, I dislike it.
I think that
it could be as faithful as it wants. It could be to the T. It could be to the exact, punctuation, and I still wouldn't enjoy it. Because
but that is the argument. Because again, with Fantastic, with the Black Johnny Storm, it's do you make what makes a good film, or do you make what respects the source material, which is going to irate so many people who are dead set on the fact that critics are just idiots, savages, who just have no respect for anything.
The critics aren't idiots, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what they think.
Yeah,
no,
I know.
Not at all.
And
that's what these people think.
That's the kind of point I want to put in place. That critics aren't idiots, and they aren't. Their opinion's not higher value, certainly not. But also, it shouldn't be devalued just because they wear a suit and they don't, buy a bucket of popcorn every week when they go. They're still film people, and they're still film fans, and the way that especially David Ayer turning fans against critics, I think is really irresponsible. Personally, I think it's a big mistake.
Yeah, I think, don't get me wrong, critics do have the ability to be wrong. I mean,
I think it's the fact that they pick at the film where some people wouldn't. They certainly dig into the film where the regular.
Oh yeah, they went.
I was going to say the regular Joe there.
Hooked into it, and I mean I can understand because there's a lot to hook into.
I mean Robbie, and I've mentioned Robbie Collins because his review for me got the film spot on. He picked at the part of the film, and a lot of the comments on the YouTube video and the podcast itself was like, you're looking too much into it. It shouldn't be treated like this. It should just be sort of throwaway fun. It should be just like turn your brain off, which I hate, and I know Ryan hates as well. I can't see his face, but I know he's forming that exact sentence. Turn your brain off fun, shouldn't be analysed. Yeah, but that's kind of the filmmakers don't go into that making something that the fact that they've made something that's just incoherent and rubbish and has become turn your brain off.
The thing that irritates me with
in inverted comments, fun. That's the filmmaker's fault and not us as an audience.
The thing that irritates
we shouldn't have to do
me
that.
with that is the fact that you can have a film that is just fun, but when it's so blatantly used, because when you get it, because that is the last will and testament of an opinion in the end, because you cannot rebut someone saying I enjoyed it. Yeah. You cannot. There is no defence. There is no comeback to that. When someone says
it's a personal
I had
feeling,
fun,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a personal feeling. There is no sentiment. If you say the story was good, you can deny that. If you say, I don't know, Tom Hardy was good in a certain film, you can say, well, I thought he wasn't good.
Yeah.
If you say I had fun, I had a good time at the cinema, I had fun with myself, I enjoyed myself,
and that's
you
why,
cannot rebut that.
That's why when
there is sentiment in that statement, because you can have a film where you just go and you enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But if that's literally what there is to it, then
that's why whenever we argue,
it gets lost in translation. I think
that's why whenever we argue, we've argued about Bourne in recent weeks. We've argued about Central Intelligence, which I still think is.
But I don't think lesser of anybody who likes different films.
But this is what I'm saying.
Never should.
This is what I'm saying. The argument always ends with, it's fine that you liked it. It's fine that I didn't. And that's I like that point.
That's terrific.
You can't deny feelings.
The thing is though, when you look at
make love to me.
when you look at like a critic's point of view, their whole job is essentially to pick a film apart.
Yeah.
And to analyze it, to really get into the nitty gritty of it. And yeah, for some films are a little bit, turn your brain off, leave your brain at the door kind of thing. Certain ones, like Marvel, have kind of done it with a few, this, that, the other. But you turn your critic mode off.
Yeah.
You don't analyse it for deeper meaning or anything like that.
You go for the ride.
Yeah, you're there for the ride. And that doesn't mean switch your brain off. You just have to go into an opposite mode.
And that's what I thought about with Suicide Squad. I honestly thought it was just a wild ride that I really did have fun with. But there are reasons why I enjoyed it more than just I had fun with it.
I think with regards to what you're saying, I forgot what were you just saying.
Honestly, I think critics can realise that fun is important in a film as much as message. I think people got that with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I went into it as somebody who was really excited about it and was definitely going for the ride, and I'll definitely think about it at a later point. I'll take it in first, and then I'll start thinking about it. But because I wasn't on board with the ride, because I wasn't enjoying the actual film, my brain switched from fan mode or film goer mode straight back to critic mode. Because there's so much that's wrong with it that my brain couldn't stop picking it apart.
That was the big thing for me as well, is because a good film that is like that is something that you just get immersed in and you enjoy the ride kind of thing. If it's not turn your brain off, it just means it's fun.
Yeah.
Really, the point of turn your brain off is the idea is that you get swept away with it. You don't have to think. You stop analysing it because you've gotten to the point where you are just sat there, you're enjoying it. You're laughing. You can't concentrate on analysing it on a fucking Freudian level.
Everything's a dick.
Yeah. Everything.
Especially in Joe.
Yeah.
Do you want to know an interesting point as well?
Go on.
I did quite like there are scenes that have no need for the songs in Suicide Squad, like the scene where they are sort of getting the squad together to reveal what their mission is, as Joe was saying when we came out the cinema.
That's the worst
Does
one
not
for
fit
me.
at all.
Seven-ish
But I
Army,
did like
awful.
the rebellious
That was
nature
really
of some of the songs, and I did think it fit well at times. But I feel like in this film, if you compare it to Guardians, the Guardians soundtrack exists because it's Peter Quill's connection to the Earth world. It has a storytelling reason to be there. Yeah. Why in Suicide Squad it's there because it fits the tone and because it's just there.
No.
Because they think it fits the tone.
A lot of songs
they think it's just there.
Fit.
It doesn't have a storytelling reason to be there. It's what's the word when you can't hear the it's that rather than being in the story for pure reason.
Yeah, that's
because in Guardians you can imagine Peter Quill listening to these songs because he literally does play some of them in the song. I mean, he's dancing to Redbone at the start, isn't he, and kicking the rats out the way in the opening scene. So you've got a storytelling reason. There's nothing wrong with having rebellious songs in there for no reason. But
no, there is.
You've got that when you use those that much.
There definitely is.
No, even diegetic and non-diegetic is something if it fits or the feel and the tone. But a lot of them just didn't. They were just there.
Yeah.
Like I cannot like. So many times I just heard a song and I was like, oh, it's Eminem.
Yeah,
Eminem did not fit. That was the one that didn't fit me.
That's Kanye.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The fact that they try to put this sort of like Vietnam soundtrack on it at points. It's like, what? This is Suicide Squad, not Apocalypse Now. Why have you got like?
I did quite like the original soundtrack.
Yeah. Why have you got like Creedence Clearwater revival here? What's with Fortunate Son?
Yeah,
Why?
Exactly.
They just go through all like the normal rock. Just like literally all of them, like AC/DC. I think AC/DC is in there.
Dirty Deeds Done Dirty.
Fucking know it.
Yeah, no, it's
Rolling Stones, Animals.
Everything. Just why though?
I mean, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody is.
Well, where was the Panic at the Disco remix? I didn't hear that.
Have you actually heard that? Have you heard their version?
No,
of it?
I haven't. I was expecting to hear it.
It's not very good. That's another thing. Obviously,
what's annoying as well is that when you consider the themes as well, the Animals, House of the Rising Sun.
I thought that was great at the start. I thought that really fit.
That is the perfect song for Suicide Squad. It is it's a little bit out of place. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's got that.
It's like foreboding, isn't it? It's got that sort of dread.
Like 60 years on, the song is still relevant because of how grim and dark it is, and that's, I think, the kind of thing they should have went for. If they wanted to put popular music in, House of the Rising Sun was a good thing. I just wish they'd stuck with it.
Yeah. Some kind of recurring theme and not just completely scattershot.
See, it was fine because it kind of fit the tone, because it kind of, get ready for the Suicide Squad, or get ready for the squad. Like,
I guess for some kind of Suicide Squad.
I got like, oh, for fuck's sake, yeah. I got that kind of vibe, but it's, I mean, some songs, even if they don't have any diegetic or any inherent meaning, sometimes they just kind of fit.
Yeah.
They're just like, instantly. I mean, a perfect example is probably Martin Scorsese. So many times in these films, like, they don't really have any kind of thematic reason besides, like, for example, The Departed, what was it, Shelter and stuff like that, but it just kind of,
but it works.
It works. Like, you just kind of instantly, you don't like have to, like, it doesn't bring it out. It doesn't. You don't have to think about it. Just go, oh yeah.
And I suppose the feeling there is that they wanted to replicate that, and they thought, if they can do it, then surely we can. And it just hasn't translated. It doesn't work in every essence.
I think in terms of the characters, one last character we didn't mention was a character which is very David Ayer-esque, and that was Ike Barinholtz's character. Yeah, the police one. He had a lot of humour within it, because like in sort of like his reactions, like the cowardly reactions that he had, like the Joker and the Deadshot and stuff like that. He added some of the humour to the story quite a bit. I don't know if he was sort of like, I'm guessing he was quite an early addition, because it is like people have been pointing out, he is a very David Ayer-esque character. So I mean, I don't know.
Did anyone else notice that Scott Eastwood was in this?
Yeah, he was, but people were saying he was going to be Deathstroke. That's what I was hearing the rumours, but he was just some random military guy in the end. I thought he might have been Rick Flag.
Honestly, I thought he could have done that, and it's kind of a shame that they did just kind of leave him to the side a bit. But
I don't know why, as well, at the end, just like fucking explosions just fixes everything.
Yeah.
Explosion.
Throw the cheese.
They also did a little bit of a bad thing with Diablo. In the sense,
I thought that was a cool visual, and that tiki thing.
Oh no, I like that, but it's his. They did the same thing with his death that they did with Quicksilver's in Age of Ultron. I felt like there wasn't enough weight to it.
No.
Yeah,
he's a character you know nothing about. You've known for about 2 minutes. You didn't really see in the promotional material.
Yeah, no, but I was just starting to care. I was just starting to care about him, and then it's like, that's it.
If they're gonna kill somebody at that point, they're gonna kill the least valuable of the team, aren't they? And that's as soon as you saw him, you're kind of like pegged.
But they were giving him character development, and it was like
I started to read. He was one of my favorite parts of the film, and then they just sort of
Joe.
It kind of the character development kind of just felt like another thing, because to make you feel emotion to kill him off. That's it. I didn't really. It was that and the I'm not gonna let another family die.
Yeah,
like, you know them for like a few hours.
The development just wasn't there for me, and because it wasn't, I didn't care.
I honestly think even with Enchantress, if there was any like indication to bring the Joker back, she would have took that fucking 100% over like a few people that she's only known for like 7 hours.
On Enchantress, it's disappointing because I like Cara Delevingne. I like her as a person. I like when she does appearances and stuff. I think she's an interesting person with an interesting history, and certainly she's trying to break it in the acting game, and maybe wants to stay away from this kind of role and to kind of move into the sort of indie stuff where she'll really earn her chops and not just this kind of CG mess that she's had to be put through here. Because let's face it, she's really bad. Her performance is really bad because she's put under such weird circumstance. I know that I wish she was better than she was, but she's really not.
And I know we brought up the dance earlier, and I can kind of part of me understands why they did that. Part of me really, really doesn't. In all fairness, but personally, it felt her movements were a little bit like the nurses from Silent Hill.
I've not seen Silent Hill.
No, I'm talking about the games.
I've not played Silent Hill. I played it as a kid on the Xbox, and I got through one mission. I was like, nah, it's too scary. Nothing scary actually happened, but I was just sort of waiting for it to happen. Like, nah, I can't
atmospheric,
do it.
very much so. Yeah. But no, they've got this weird kind of like jerky motion as they go, and it's supposed to be sort of strange and unsettling.
It very much felt like someone possessing someone.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the vibe they were going for, but it didn't work.
It was just the hips.
Yeah.
I was just like, it was like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, it didn't make me feel like, or anything. Just like, what?
I'm gonna get through these two other, reviews that we've had sent in, and I think we'll move on to something else.
I think that's probably for the best,
because we have spent collectively about an hour on it. But the same happened with Civil War, same happened with Batman. There's just so much to talk about. But we really appreciate everyone who got in touch. Adam Bloomfield. Thanks, everybody. If we can get this every week, that'd be great. There's just a lot of these films that come out and people don't really care about them, but this one has brought everyone together. Well, it's divided one, but brought them together at the same time.
What the crack is with this film as well is it's not as much of a circle jerk as a lot of other films. This is what I think the reason we've spent so much time talking about this is because there is so much conflicting view going on.
Yeah.
And it's obviously we wanted it to be something that a lot of people wanted it to be something it wasn't. A lot of people are fighting against the critics. It has been a big film just in terms of its social reaction to it.
I think a lot of people are sticking up for it, and inside they must be sort of going, not to question the integrity of anybody, but I feel like there must be some people who are sticking up for it to just to be on the fringe of the opinion, because from where I'm sitting, I can't see the good of it. I can't see what people like about it so much, because I think it's just a catastrophic failure.
Before we move on, I'll go on. Finish what you were saying.
Well, I'm gonna get through these two reviews and see if they've got any points. Adam Bloomfield. I saw it and thoroughly loved it. Perfect balance of dark humor and action with a really good soundtrack and an 80s punk theme to the character that I really, especially love the chemistry between Harley Quinn and the Joker. Plus Boomerang and El Diablo. I'd happily watch it again. And Scott Hasty's got a big one here. He's been on the show before, and we're very grateful to Scott for everything.
Yeah.
I think.
Seen him in a long time.
I know we do need to see him again. I think whilst it's been undoubtedly a failure, when you could argue DC needed a big win, I think it's been harshly criticised. I enjoyed the way they did introduction to each member, and come the final act, I was happy with the way things went down. I also thought Margot Robbie was terrific. There's two things I hated that brought it right down for me. The structure is off, with part of the film showing subway carnage, Joker at nightclubs, and the squad being brought together interspersed all into the one scene.
Yep,
gave me a bit of a headache.
Yeah, all over the place.
My main gripe, though, is... Want to guess?
Joker.
Not the portrayal. I liked a different, darker, dour Joker, which fitted the film well. What I hated was his inclusion in the film. He should have been used as a cameo the same way Batman was, to give us an insight into Harley Quinn. Instead, we got a useless, recurring thread in the film. In a film where we already have so many new characters to meet and sympathise with. It felt like somebody bringing out a special guest for a cheap cheer. Then the guest stays and tries to overshadow the full show. No doubt, Ayer and DC felt they needed Joker in it for longer to rack in the dollar, but it took away from the film massively for me. Do you think that they've put the Joker in because, and it's the same thing I think about Doctor Who when Capaldi came in, when they brought Matt Smith straight back in the first one, they're insecure about the stuff they've got in front of them, and they need
No, let's not get into that's an entirely different.
It's the first. Okay, shut up. It's the first example that sprang to mind.
I can see where you're coming with that.
They've diluted the Suicide Squad by bringing in a much more known, because let's face it, nobody outside of the comic book
because I've had this
knew of
discussion with
Suicide
people
Squad,
as well.
and they needed somebody to kind of go, look, the Joker's in it, and then these other people as well.
Yeah, because he was on far too much of the promotional material as well, and
that's why I think the marketing was a massive con.
It just goes to show as well the fact that he's in the film for a cumulative between 10 and 20 minutes altogether.
Maybe less than less.
I think it's less.
He is not a big part in it, and yet we've spoke so much about him.
I know
because they hyped him as a big part of this film, and honestly, I'm so glad he wasn't. But
how much more of the Joker do you think we'll see?
Batman solo film.
And anything beyond that,
maybe,
or something before
I don't
that.
Care,
just
as long as Jared Leto sorts his shit out.
That's the thing. I think if he changes his performance in the next one, people are going to go, oh look, Warner Brothers have crumbled again. If he sticks to what he's got, he's going to get this kind of stick again. It's only going to please us. Basically, what DC have done, and I've got this in my notes, is my big point. They've written themselves into a massive corner. Every little move that they make is going to set off some kind of reaction. What they should have done is from the very start of this universe, and it's quite simple, made it good, because now they've got three films under their belt in this universe, which is going nowhere fast. Because that's after when Marvel started their universe, we had Iron Man, which got them off to a very good start, then Hulk, and then what was third?
Thor.
That's a good trio of films. What DC have got is Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman and this, and it's a pretty
really
nasty, stinking trio, isn't it?
Because Marvel, it never felt like they were going to do an Avengers.
No.
But like, you know, Hulk did okay.
It was. I thought Hulk was fine.
Yeah.
Hulk is certainly better than anything DC have done.
Iron Man was very good, and Thor was very, very good, and this, that, and the other. And then there were loose connections between them. There was never like, we're doing an Avengers.
Well, apart from Iron Man 2, which was literally Avengers setup.
Oh yeah, but like that was sort of like we expected that.
I mean, it was enjoyable, but it was Avengers setup.
Yeah. Like, but no, you feel like they're trying so hard to do this ensemble thing, but what they don't have is they want to build this sort of grand structure, and what they don't have is a decent foundation to build it on.
Yeah.
And again, that's them crumbling to the pressures that they need to live up to Marvel, and they don't. They just do your own thing.
Massive problem we've got now is, of course, they said that they'll do Justice League first and then do individual movies. The same problems happened here. We don't know about the characters yet. No one really knows about Aquaman. No one knows that much about Cyborg.
And no one cares.
And nobody
cares
because
films.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, there's the problem is this. To be honest, I don't agree with your analogy before, but because
I wasn't using it to compare them that close. I just think it's in the same way.
I get what you mean, but
to undermine the main point of the story by including a flagpole. It fits to some degree.
Basically, but no, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
Okay.
But basically, the thing is with this, we can't spoil it yet. The film.
It's not been out long enough.
But what I'm saying is that the very end scene, when you see it, that is a scene which, in storytelling terms, it's not a natural ending, and it just sort of, in storytelling terms, it's just indicative of a franchise which seems to have which just completely shows that it has no real focus or no real goal of a universe in the dream. It's rather a product driven by a desire to make money and to catch up with its rival, rather than being driven by any passion, creativity, or individuality. It's literally trying to play catch up. The ending does not fit at all, and it's really driven by that desire to catch up.
Oddly, I feel is everything that the Killing Joke did right,
which we're going to get to very shortly.
Yeah.
At this stage, I suppose it's fairly low risk for Warner because they're still making money off it. It's still going to make a lot of money, but for how long? That's the thing. I think the negative word of mouth is only going to carry them so far. At this point, people who've seen all three must be thinking, like, it's the rule of three. The first one's bad, second one's bad, third one's bad. Well, that's it. I'm giving up now. I can't sit there anymore. If I wasn't doing this show, I wouldn't see anymore. Why would I? I didn't enjoy any of them. I've got much better things to do with my time.
DC do not have a consistent tone.
Nah.
That's the problem, because
all over the place.
Because Marvel, as much as people, as much as I hated when people are like, Winter Soldier was political thriller, and stuff like that. Like, they're not. They're superhero films with a slight different genre edge.
Yes.
But basically, they have a semi-consistent tone. They have a vision. People always say, like, the Marvel style, it's a bit boring visually at times, but it's the Marvel in-house formula. It's the formula that works. It's the formula that's generated them billions and billions of dollars and made them, like, super... Marvel probably president in 4 years at this rate. But, I mean, the fact that they had Iron Man, they had Hulk, they had Iron Man 2, they had Thor, they had Captain America. That's 5 films before Avengers.
Yeah.
5 films.
DC straight into Justice League.
Yeah, and they've all had a consistent tone of what they had a vision of what they wanted to do. It was a big risk going with Iron Man, and then they pulled it off somehow in the end with bringing that universe ahead. But now in this one, they've had Man of Steel, which for me at least was a great start. It had a Superman that they wanted to tell stories with, and they had a jumping off point. But in Batman and Superman, they just had... It just felt like, as you say, a camel designed by committee.
Yeah.
A film designed by a board who were like, right, we're going to catch up.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to be... They're being reactive as well. We could, quite literally... We could probably send a tweet.
Yeah.
An angry worded tweet from all of our Twitter accounts saying what they should change.
I think a lot of people are tweeting though, but I think a handwritten letter would totally make them lose their shit.
They need a vision, because right now they're just scrambling for air.
There was probably a planned tone, because certainly, like, obviously Man of Steel being the first one, that was kind of before the universe was a thing, though, wasn't it? It was kind of just a standalone thing, and then they thought, for whatever reason, we'll make a universe out of it. I guess the idea and the tone was to make the entire thing consistently dark and gritty, especially because Suicide Squad was also sort of intended to be dark and gritty with a few sprinklings of humour. And now it's this sort of almost comedy, except it's not. It would be. I would classify it as a comedy if it was funny, but it's not. So it's not. They definitely wanted a dark gritty tone, but now there's been so much interference from the fans, from the critics, from the production companies and studios, that now, the tone is there is no consistent tone, and it's just a complete mess. Can we move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we said we were going to, move on about 20 minutes ago.
So ultimately, in Suicide Squad 2, before we wrap up, how would you improve?
Right, should we tell you what we should do, right? If each one of us just has one summary sentence. That's
one
fair.
summary sentence, that's fair, yeah.
Joe?
Or one summary opinion.
Boring as fuck. Formulaic and tries to just go good enough. Yeah. And that's not good enough.
Jake?
Reactionary, and I suppose less than the sum of its parts.
Absolutely. Ryan?
An entertaining mess that absolutely needed editing down, and just an arrangement, like some form of a plan.
An unentertaining mess that was already hacked to bits in the edit, and just frankly should have been so much better than it was. But as is often the case, it was never gonna live up to the hype. That's their own fault for hyping it so much. That is really their own fault for hyping it way too much. That it was never gonna live up to it, even if it was decent. There you go. Suicide Squad.
That's not their problem, though.
It is. The entire marketing campaign was over-egged. It wasn't a good marketing campaign. It was a con.
Okay, do you reckon all these deleted scenes and stuff like that? Do you want to hear a good little conspiracy that I've heard?
Go on,
see what happened with Batman vs Superman.
Conspiracy corner.
The evidence is there.
Spiders. No, but I don't know why. I read it somewhere that a lot of people are saying there's deleted scenes and stuff like that. So it's a similar thing with Batman vs Superman. So they're doing another kind of ultimate cut. And then people will buy more Blu-rays.
Yeah.
It's
coming out on DVD,
Spiders.
Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, and a steelbook, and collector's editions.
Why would you want to spend £20 on it?
And if we haven't sold it enough, you should go buy it.
And there's 2 different collector's editions, one with a Harley Quinn figure and one with a Deadshot figure. That's seven different editions you can buy this film.
Is there one where I guess Harley Quinn?
You can, not actually Harley Quinn. You can digital download it, presumably. They'll I don't know, there's all sorts. There'll be different cuts.
Don't wait on money.
I think Warner Brothers, the last one that springs to mind, Tarzan. What a catastrophic. Ugh. Yes, Jake. We'll move on.
Yeah,
I feel bad.
We spent like over 2 hours on this, Nelly.
It's
What we're gonna do.